Mobile Armored Strike Kommand, command with the K, also known as M.A.S.K. For this, which was one of my favorite toy lines ever, we're going to jump to 1985. As is the case with a number of 80s toys, this one starts with the action figures and then worked its way into a TV show that was created to help sell those toys, which, let's face it, was how some of the best figures and cartoons of all time ever came about. Jason Emmett here. This is Rewind Toys, and yes, today we're talking about M.A.S.K. If we're to be honest, M.A.S.K likely has a couple of other lines to thank for its creation. The first was Star Wars. In 1978, all the way through 1985, Kenner was creating the Star Wars line, an extremely successful run for Kenner, which almost didn't happen. See, Star Wars was originally offered to Mego, but they turned it down, and it found its way over to Kenner. The story behind the Star Wars figures is a very interesting one, and we'll chat about it sometime in the future. But let's just say Star Wars had ended, and now Kenner was looking for the next, it toy. At this point, the Transformers were a massive hit with kids, so Kenner started thinking, hey, we need vehicles that can transform, and voila, M.A.S.K was born. Now, the cartoon ran a couple of seasons and gave us our plot. Mac Tracker, the leader of M.A.S.K, our good guys, faced off against Miles Mayhem, the leader of Venom, which we told you what M.A.S.K stood for. Venom stands for Vicious Evil Network of Mayhem. Can't make that crap up, but it's awesome. Venom was a terrorist organization and played extremely well off another popular line, G.I. Joe, with their terror organization called Cobra. Cobra, Venom, just sort of works. Now, Deke helped this series along, dropping 75 episodes. We got cool vehicles and characters who wore awesome masks that gave their wearers special abilities. The plot was helped along via comic books published by Kenner and DC, later through Grand Dreams, Fleetway, Hasbro, and IDW. This is where we got the cool and somewhat edgy for kids backstory of how Miles betrayed the Tracker brothers, stealing their technology and killing Matt's brother Andy before escaping and starting his own evil group. We should also mention that in 87 and 88, Gremlin Graphics released a series of computer games. There were 3, I think, in total, released for systems such as Commodore 64 and ZX Spectrum, and I think a couple of other things that I'm not even sure what they are. Series 1 and Series 2 of the toy lines featured vehicles and characters based on the plot of the show. Each featured vehicles that changed from ordinary to combat ready, along with 1, sometimes 2, drivers, and of course, their masks. We also got these things called adventure packs that were released. They were just a figure with cool accessories that you didn't get with the vehicle versions. For collectors, adventure packs, these can be a pretty big deal, as a number of these were only released in Europe, where the line seemed to thrive even after losing a bit of steam here in the States. We also got Series 3, and that one shifted gears along with the cartoon when everything sort of stopped being about the cool fight between good and evil and instead just became all about racing. I never understood that. I don't know why they went that way. After that, the series ended, and another line of toys called Split Seconds was released, but it didn't feature in any storyline of the cartoon at all. Split Seconds were vehicles with 2 drivers, one being a cool, clear hologram version of the original, and those were awesome. And that vehicle would split into 2 vehicles, again with the hologram driving one of them and the original driver driving the original. We also had a couple of playsets. There was Boulder Hill, which was the base of M.A.S.K, and one called Laser Command, which, much like Split Second, had nothing to do with the series. So the figures, the actual guys that came with the M.A.S.K cars, they weren't very articulate, shoulders, neck, one leg joint, but I really dug them. They stood really great, and they were kind of detailed. I just really liked the look of them. They were cool toys overall. So real quick, I'm going to bring up the M.A.S.K live-action movie. So once Hasbro acquired the Kenner rights and started launching movies all over the place, a M.A.S.K movie was announced alongside additional properties, all of which we'll cover at some point. That was in 2015. They had stated a shared universe with Micronauts, Visionaries, ROM, and yes, G.I. Joe. Writers were hired, and it seemed to go well, but then it sort of fell apart. The shared universe team dispersed, and we got nothing. In 2018, we heard rumor that F. Gary Gray, he of Friday, Straight Outta Compton, Italian Job, and Men in Black International fame, was hired to direct a new version of a Mask film. And then in 2020, we heard Bad Boys Ride or Die writer Chris Bremer was actually penning a script, and then again, nothing. Honestly, after the third Transformer movie, they fell way off, and the G.I. Joe films are not what I would consider great, especially that first one. If they're ever going to do these, when they do these films, they really need to bring in an OG fan like myself to oversee the story of these projects, because if they do Mask, they need to get it right, or else, honestly, us fans, we don't want it. Anyway, the Mask toys are really cool. They really hold up. Like they don't go down in value. I'm going to tell you that they're very expensive, especially if you find them complete or in box. There are a couple like Condor, which are ones that everybody had. It's a really cool toy, but we all had it, and it's a little more. It's a little easier to find out there. But you can find Mask toys, but they don't go down in value. They're pretty expensive. I also want to say in 2024, the loyal subjects, they actually cut a deal with Hasbro to relaunch Mask in conjunction with the 40th anniversary. The first wave of products will release in July of this year, 2025. And from what I've seen, they did an excellent job keeping the original look and feel with a few improvements that just make sense, such as increased posability for the figures without really changing the look or the design of the figures. It's really cool. The initial release will have Mobile Defense Unit, Rig Rhino, Thunderhawk, the Venom Switchblade Chopper, and Condor. Again, Condor being one of probably the most popular toys from the Mask line. July 1st is when you can pre-order, and September is when wide distribution is expected. Now, Condor is going to be the cheapest. It's going to run you $30. Thunderhawk is going to run you $50, Switchblade $80, and Rhino $100. And yes, I do want them. My birthday is in July. I'm just saying. Anyway, next time around, we're gonna discuss the Mask sort of pseudo ripoff line, Vortec. So come back, check it out next time here on Rewind Toys. Guys, let me know if you were a fan of the Mask toys. You can drop it down in the comments below. And until then, I'm Jason Emmett. This is Rewind Toys. And remember, when it comes to retro toys, the hunt is half the fun.